Can you tell me a little bit about your internship?
Absolutely. So my name's Tristan Razote. This past semester, I had the opportunity to do a remote internship with Runestone Academy, sponsored by Berea College Office of Internships and Career Development. Runestone is a fantastic platform that provides free open source textbooks for math and computer science education. So my role was to contribute to the development and updating of several of these interactive textbooks that include books on cybersecurity, computational complexity, Java for Python, C++ for data structures, and the list goes on. So my day-to-day work involved a lot of back-end and content development. I used Git and GitHub for version control and collaboration, working with my mentor, Dr. Jan, and our team to tackle issues, fix bugs, and create new content like a book on Introduction to Data Science or a book on computer security. Now, we didn't create the book's material, but we did add it to the Runestone website and added some of our own interactivity and accessibility.
Describe the most important technical thing you learned during your internship and why was it important?
So the most important technical lesson came from my biggest failure, actually. So working with the Job server in the context of Runestone, a Job server is a sandboxed environment that runs student code submissions safely so that they can test code directly in the textbook. And my task was to create a Job server that we could use to host this code. And initially I was focused on like how to make the Job server, and I thought it was very necessary to do all of this on my own, but then I hit a wall. And so I couldn't figure out why it was working, and this forced me to dig deeper into like how the service architecture worked and how it handled requests and how it handled like the main applications. And so this was a major shift for me. Knowing that my work and my thought process was going to be reviewed not only by my mentor, but could also be used for a wiki on Runestone, it was important because it taught me that like software development isn't just about writing code, it's about understanding the system I'm contributing to. And later I found out that Job server doesn't actually work with the Runestone's local servers. So that was a pretty important technical thing to just dive down through the wiki and like documentation to find out.
Nice, very interesting. What is the most important non-technical thing that you learned during your internship and why?
The most important non-technical lesson was learning how to collaborate. For this, I thought teamwork was like dividing up tasks and like assigning people to a task on a board. And this internship showed me like what real collaboration is and how it's about shared struggle and building team like resilience to like problems. And you can't just work solo or take the brunt of the work. Like there's a takeaway on my poster actually, basically says collaboration over heroics. And that really sums it up. Like I learned that it's far more effective to get stuck and document my failed attempts and bring the problem to the team quickly rather than wasting hours or even days to solve the problem alone.
Nice. What do you feel most proud of that you accomplished during your internship?
I feel like I'm most proud of my change in mindset towards failure. And I'm proud to see like how much like failure is a tool. So my proudest moment wasn't ever solving a specific ticket or like discovering an issue, but it was the times I got stuck and my immediate instinct wasn't to just work into a hole by myself, but instead document and actually reach out to the open source community and my mentor and my peers about what I had tried and what I thought would work.
How did the real-world DDoS attack on Runestone Academy connect with your work?
So that was a pretty fascinating attack, and it was like a slightly stressful moment for everyone who was in it. Now that happened way before our internship, but I was working on some theoretical concepts for the computer security textbook. So things like attack vectors and mitigation strategies and why they would do this attack, we were using in the computer security book. And so I had found out through a blog post that Runestone had actually been inside of a real-world DDoS attack happening on their own platform previously. They were hit by a sustained attack of over like 5 million requests from 6,000 different IPs in September 2024, and it really brought the textbook material to life. It showed like the gap between theory and practice. Like the Runestone's hosting provider security was only designed for massive cloud-wide attacks and not really like targeted campaigns against one small to medium-sized project. This forced the Runestone team and the founder mainly to handle the attack themselves. And so this really drove home the lessons that we wrote in the book. It made like the content that is in the textbook a lot more relevant and a lot more immediate, especially when I was able to actually interview the founder of Runestone, Dr. Brad Miller, about this incident.
Nice. Can you give me a concrete example of proactive ownership?
Yeah, definitely. So proactive ownership means like realizing a job isn't done when a ticket is closed. And that was a pretty big thing for our group. We had plenty of tickets, but I was assigned to a ticket to fix a bug and like a specific exercise in the Java for Python book, which was designed so that students can learn Java if they had Python experience. So I found some errors in the interactive and I found the error and corrected it, but the old me would have just closed the ticket and moved on to a new ticket. What proactive ownership meant that I could ask the question like, could this same bug exist somewhere else in the book? Could I see other books and maybe see if it's in other books? I went through similar exercises in that chapter and in that book to see if the same error was being like copied over or like being moved.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I'm really grateful to Berea College Office of Internships and Career Development for funding my internship. I also want to thank my internship mentor, Dr. Jan Pierce, for her invaluable time and her effort, which made this internship a really positive experience. And finally, I would like to thank my peers for their support during the internship. There was definitely some times when I needed it on certain issues. Thank you.